there's these polarities in Judaism, and I think that's where the good stuff really lives, between having a commitment to something, devoting yourself, creating all these structures and formalities, and by just letting it all be spontaneous and being able to be nimble and craft things just on the fly. And they all need each other.
There's a notion in Judaism of two things in tension. One of them called keva, which means fixed, and often refers to the performing of the commandments and doing the rituals. But in today's world, we often use it to mean rote. And then there's another concept which we call kavanah, which is about our intention. As the opposite of rote, it means the inspirational or the exciting or the moving. And I would say there are different manifestations of Judaism. And some people engage only intellectually, and some people engage only ritually. And for me, that I think is part of this tension. There's a wonderful, possibly apocryphal story about Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel that encapsulates this tension between keva and kavanah. He was sitting on a panel about prayer once, and someone raised their hand and said, Rabbi Heschel, do you feel kavanah? Do you feel that full intention every morning when you wake up and pray? And he said, you know what, I don't. There are mornings where I feel terrible, I'm tired, I'm cranky, I want to be doing something else. But if I don't put on my tefillin and I don't start, then I never would get to a place where I do have that intention. And so I have to do it every day. I have to keep that practice. And, you know, I struggle with some of these questions. And sometimes I feel like, I don't really like this right now, but I'm gonna keep doing it. There's a value to keva in and of itself.
It really isn't enough to have values. You have to develop habits which make those values live out in a way that don't require you to make conscious decisions about them at every moment. Because there are too many other pressing things to be thinking about. I think rituals are a really smart technology for operationalizing values.
So I need the ritual in order to have the wildness. I need to be able to sit there every morning to know that I am showing the universe that I'm willing to do the work, and then the work comes. I live in the world of theater, so luckily I come from a culture of rehearsal. And then, right? And a culture of rehearsal means I get into a room and we're gonna spend 4 hours experimenting with things, and most of the time getting it wrong, until at the end of those 4 hours we've managed to stage a page or two. Right. But it took 4 hours to stage a page or two.
Turn it and turn it and turn it, because everything is in it. All of life is in it. It's the Torah. And what you find is dependent on your stage of life, dependent on your experiences in life. I believe that lighting the Shabbos candles has become more and more meaningful to me throughout my life. It's different to light the Shabbos candles with your kids playing around your feet. It's another thing to light Shabbos candles knowing that my daughter and my son are lighting those same candles in a different state, somewhere else, but we're all doing it together.
If I didn't make myself keep Shabbat, Shabbat would never, ever work, because I would never take a break. I am so, by nature, a workaholic, like I would never stop. And there's something about the discipline of forced stopping that occasionally actually elicits genuine spiritual and psychological stopping.
So I think if I had to pick, I'm much more of a kavanah person. People want meaning wherever they can find it. And Judaism has these tools and rituals and symbols and wisdom that brings meaning. And ultimately, I think that's the job of rituals. It gets you, it takes you from point A to point B. So, to me, the mitzvot, the commandments or spiritual opportunities in Judaism are a means to an end. They're a means to the end being a relationship with the mystery of the world.
Marabu Mahasecha Hashem, how manifold, how plentiful are the works of your hand, God. The writer looked at the world and saw beautiful things and attributed that to God. And then the rabbis took that and made it into our liturgy. And so we're enjoined to think about the world in miraculous ways. Again, you can take everything for granted or you can take nothing for granted.
I've never seen anything that makes a group of people feel together as much as singing does. And I still remember the first time I was in a room with 130 other teenagers and the song leader got us to sing in 3-part harmony. The music of it and making music with all of those people toward a common good. I can tell you what text it was that we were singing. It was Lo Yisa Goy El Goy Cherev, nation shall not lift up sword against nation. The music isn't always the end goal. It's music in service of something greater, making us feel together, potentially, transformative religious experiences.
You have to put the work in to have those moments of a transcendency, of amazement, of wonder. Those moments don't happen in a vacuum. Those moments happen because you have been prepped to receive those moments. It doesn't always feel good to break your teeth reading biblical Hebrew or rabbinic Hebrew, right? But you don't actually get to have that transcendent prayer experience. You don't actually get to be a master, right, of Jewish texts unless you put in that hard work.
The project of making ourselves morally better, and I would add the process of making ourselves spiritually better, those two things are intertwined. That's at the heart of living a spiritual and religious life. That is not the regnant discourse of our time. We even turn spiritual practices into consumerist commodities, right? Give yourself a gift of yoga, as opposed to, yoga is in part about connecting with the unity of all things. Why don't you do the work? Why don't we do the work of connecting to that, right? It's about a reorientation. At the risk of sounding simplistic, the way that you commit to this is by committing to it and not letting anything steer you away from the path.